So we're going to discuss the conference admin site right now. So if you're coming from the dashboard, you'll go to conference admin and conference registration admin tab. This is where you'll set up your initial setups for your conference submission portal. Now, generally, once you have it set up, you'll be able to clone it for the next conference year, and everything will roll over to that year, and then you'll just change your dates and a little bit of data here and there. So your year over year changes should be very, very minor. So let's go over include archived. So whenever you have a conference submission portal and it's archived, you can still view the old archives. By standard, you won't see the archives to keep your submission portal interface a little cleaner. So first one is main setup, and this is where you'll set up your PayPal integration. You'll see little helper question marks around the site, and that's just to give you a little more helpful information related to that section. Down in the conference general setup, you'll add your conference banner here. It gives you, requirements and suggested sizes, suggested sizes here. This area here is for CSS. You don't need this, but we wanted to give you all the options, that you could possibly need. So if you did need to hide anything on the submission portal, like text or whatever, or even change it, you can do that through this part right here. This is where your conference title goes. This is your cross-reference ID. So what happens is if you have one conference, then you don't really need to worry about this, because your cross-reference ID will be the same, and then you can see year-over-year data from your next conference. If you have multiple different conferences, then we would give you multiple different conference IDs, and then those year-over-years would be referencing to, like, Conference 1 of 2022 would reference to Conference 1 of 2023, and Conference 2 of 2022 would reference to Conference 2 of 2023. That way you can have multiple conferences in here and be able to see year-over-year data. That's what this is for. But again, if you have one conference, you don't need to worry about it. This is where your global templates are, and it depends on how many conferences you have, but generally, if you have one conference, you have one global template, because you don't need multiple templates for that, not global levels. Here's your global shared templates. This is where you'll enter information like, your receipts, confirmation subject line. This is where you'll enter your thank you page. I think this one is thank you for payment page and emailed. So you'll enter your stuff here. And the reason why you might be wondering what these word merge things are is you can have specific data to that conference and have it tied into here. The reason why this is good is you don't have to try to hunt down all your changes in your site to do updates for the next conference year. So you can put this kind of format here, and then when you go to the next year, it'll automatically update all this data for you, and you don't have to go through every single email, every single template, and try to update all this information, because you know how it is. You can have 20 different pieces of templates and emails, templates, and you may miss one of these, and now you're sending out the wrong information to a customer for a 2024 year, and the information you're sending is dated to 2023. This just makes it so you don't have to worry about forgetting to to find that data in here. Here's all your word merges for this section, and it does accept images, so you can put images in emails. The conference banner is a replacement. That way you don't and again, if I hard-coded a conference banner into this and then the next year came up, I would have to change it every single year. So because it dynamically adds it here, then it'll automatically change it for the following year when I update my standard page. And let me go back. This is the standard upgrade page. So I changed my banner here, and it changes it on every single email I'm sending out. Nice feature. Let me get back to the images. So images are designed to meet the requirements for emails to not block them, at least the best that you can. So this thing embeds the images as attachments into the email and then embeds an anchor tag to it. That way your images will have the best chance to show up for your customers instead of being this square and saying, blocked images. So we do a good job with the images. Again, these are just templates. Thank you page, no money and emailed. Submitted abstract now and registering later. So these are all just mass email templates, invite a colleague email. So these are just templates that you can add and use them throughout your entire site. So speaker code is so that you can have links to speakers. That way you can designate submissions by speaker or attendee. Sometimes this is valuable if you need to do sorts or find speakers easy. So you have hundreds of people submitting and you need to find those 30 speakers really easy because you have 50 conferences going on. This gives you the capability to have the speakers submit with a basically marks the record as a speaker. And you do get little powers because they're marked as a speaker to change the way that the speaker sees the form. And you can even give them speakers different questions. You can give them different uploads to upload to the system. So it does have a lot more power than just marking the customer as a speaker. Submission goal. So this is what your goal is, and it sets your dashboard as what your submission goal is. This is the email for contact us button. So anywhere the contact us button is located, like on the emails or wherever, this is the email that it's going to be using. If you need any of these emails to be CC'd to someone, you can put it here. Now what this does is it will CC all emails to this person. This includes any submission receipts that the customers get. This email will get a CC on it. So conference start date, conference end date, date range. This is for those word merge tools. Regular rates. So if you're using our registration portal for registering a customer, then you can have regular rate starts after this date. So what that means is you can give a discounted rate if people submit before this date. Last day to register and cancellation deadline. This is your conference website link. These are tools for putting your keywords into here. And the reason why this is we have a list builder for Google SEO to look at, and this will give your site more eyes on SEO rankings. Terms and conditions, checkbox. So this is just part of the form submission. Additional questions. So these are just, again, standard if you want to show the promo field on the site. Some people want to show it, some people don't. Because you know how it is, when you have a promo field showing, they're going to look for a promo field for a promo code, and it may not live out there. So you may not want to show the promo field. Now you can still give people a promo code and give them a promo link to use to access that promo. And again, you can set up many different types of promos on the system. Ask the submitter for a pie. So these are just questions that can be added to the system. Abstract setup. So these are your abstract submission site setups. If you don't have an abstract site, this would just be unchecked and you wouldn't even have access to the abstract section. But almost all my customers have abstract submissions because that's our specialty. So these are the options you can have. So if it's off, so for example, you have the registration section is on right now and your abstracts are closed, you would have option A set. Option B is they can have multiple options like register now, submit an abstract and register now, or submit an abstract and register later. This is the choices that they would get on the abstract page. Option C is abstract section is on right now and registration section is off. Submitter will register later. So this gives the submitter a submission of the abstract, and then you can have the registration at a later point. Option mode D is they can register now, and submit abstract, register now and submit abstract later. So not many people are going to use option mode D, but we do have the option because there's a few clients that do need this. So this is very similar to B, but instead of submitting an abstract now and registering later, this gives them the register now and they can submit an abstract later. It's kind of the opposite. And some clients, not many, require registration first and then abstract at a later point. It's a little bit different, but we do have the option for it. Mode E is register now with the option to submit an abstract. So what this does is it keeps your registration and your abstract open simultaneously. So it says, hey, you're going to register now, and if you want to submit an abstract, you can. And mode F is abstract site only. This completely removes the registration portal side of it. These are the formats allowed. So you can allow tables and images like charts and the abstracts. You can allow tables, no images, or I don't want to allow any formatting. So this is just a text field. It's a text box. So if this is checked, this means that your speakers are required to submit an abstract. It takes the options away from. You have to have option E selected though above for this one to work. So if your abstract deadline is passed and you have speakers that have not completed their abstracts, then you can check this, and this will leave the abstract submission portal open for your speakers. And this is your abstract due date. This is your late breaking due date. Now, if you don't have a late breaking time, just write 1/1/2100 and it won't use the late breaking rule. Abstract price. So if you have an abstract price related to this, you can add it here. The reason why you have it here and not on the other part is because if you're using our portal for registration and abstracts, then you need a separate price area for your abstracts. Minimum image DPI. So this is if you have requirements for high resolution images in the abstract, then you can set a DPI minimum for this. So you can limit types of images that are being uploaded. I generally have it at JPEG, PNG, and GIF. Those are good defaults. Default is blank though. That way you can allow any kind of image. And this is your submission word limit for your abstract. So you can set how many words you want as a limit here. So you can turn your virtual poster system on. You can have review, abstract review grading, blind review. This takes out the author information from the abstract. Top score. So if you're reviewing 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest, you would put a 10 here. If you have 5 being the highest and 1 being the lowest, you would put 5 here. And turn on your abstract review site. The reason why these have flags is you may not want them on or off depending on what you're doing on your site. And these are for word merges. So your Google Maps can use this information for word merges on the conference website. And same here, these are for word merges on your emails. Hashtags, you can have these for word merges. And hotel access page, you can put your hotel access link here, and your emails that you're sending out to your registrants can have this hotel access link embedded in it. The reason why it's nice to have it here is you can have your emails have that word merge zone, and then the next conference year comes up. When you change it here, it changes it on your emails too. So just a nice central area for changing everything. This is an allowed domain rule, so you'll generally put your company's website domain here. This is for a organizer or a chair. So this gives a low-level access point to someone that you want to go into the site and view things. This gives them the capability to view the conference attendees, but just the name and the general information, their email, and the abstract. This way you can have someone come in and just kind of look through to see if all the abstracts are okay. Again, this is not a general login. This is just someone to kind of help out with your abstract. So if you have registration site use, then you would be able to do membership validation codes here and give discounts. So member discount, student discount, and here would be the codes for those discounts. What you can do with these codes is put them on your secured portal on your site where a student can access or a member can access these codes. Room sharing. So our conference website has a room sharing form. That way people can go in here and see, who's wanting to share a room with someone else to save on costs. Kind of a forum for people to talk to each other to save a little money. Tax and VAT. So if you're charging a tax or a VAT, you turn this on, and then you have an optional country code here. The reason why you need an optional country code sometimes is ITA for Italy. Sometimes they have a requirement for VAT codes. Like Italy requires everybody to enter their VAT code, and that's why you need this sometimes. And visa letters. So you can turn this on, and then when somebody says, I need a visa letter to go to the conference, and they register for your conference, when they register, this system will automatically send them a visa letter from you saying this is, why, hey, please come to our conference. And then they got a nice visa letter to come to whatever country you're having your conference at. So this is a extra text you can add. This is only related to if you have multiple conferences with us. So if you're running 50 different conferences and you're sharing a email template structure with 50 conferences or 20 of them, you can also have unique content on that conference. That's what this is for. And the same with this. This is so you can have unique. And again, this is only for if you're running 20, 30, 40, 50 conferences, even 100. This gives you a nice capability to give unique content to somebody. So that is the main setup. Let's go to the content setup. So content setup is just the splash page of your conference website. So if you have unique only to this conference, then only this conference, this purple one. Put whatever you want in there. If you have global, all these templates. So if you have 50 conferences and you want the same splash page for everyone, then you can use that. If you have a global template for attendee or a global template for speaker, you can do that too. And the reason why global templates are nice for conference companies that have 50, 100 different conferences going on is you can do word merges. So you can create a welcome page for 50 conferences and it will feel unique to every conference. It'll have the conference banner for that conference. It can have the conference title, the dates, the city, the address, hashtags, all this information right here. And it'll be word merged so you can have one template for hundreds of conferences and you don't have to worry about changing this all the time. You just set the template once and you're done. So really nice feature for, not having to do your word over word and work everywhere. And that's it for this part. Now, registration types. So registration types, you can have many, many different types of registration types. You can have regular registration, student, whatever type you can think of, you can add. And what you do here is I want to show it for verified members or non-verified members. You can have it show for speakers only. So if you use the speaker codes, only speakers can access this registration type. You have your in-stock amounts. You have your fee section. This is just make this registration type active or not active. Your early price, after early, add $10 or whatever you need to add to it. Right here is your registration fee. If you needed to have taxes for your registration fee, you can have it here. If you have meals, you can have meals here. And the reason why meals are here is because some countries have different meal tax rates. So if you have meal tax, you can put it here. Or if you need to itemize, you can put your meals here. That way the customer can see that the registration fee is $2 and the meals are $1. That way they can see what the costs are. Now let's go to Promo Manager. So promo it's not too complex. You can have a percentage off. You can have a specific dollar amount off. You can have pay only the tax. There's a specific case for that, but in stock amount. So you put how many of these promo codes you have available out there. So you have 5 special promo codes. You can put a limit on it, and then once it runs out, it won't let the promo work anymore. You can set these to say what this promo is good for. So if this promo is good for registration, if it's used on non-early fees, for the late fee basically. If you use it on additional items only, you can check or uncheck any of these. Only let that promo be used for that. And your promo start and end time. This tells the promo code when it's going to be activated and end. Items for sale and free items. So items for sale and free items, this is your report for it. And let's see the inventory. So items are kind of complex because there's a lot of things you can have. But again, once you set these up, they're set. The next year's conference, when you clone this over for the next year, it's cloned over and you can change whatever you need to at that point for your next year's conference. It's not like you got to recreate these every single time. And again, you don't need to sell anything. If you don't need things, if you don't need banquet tickets, you don't need to add these things to it. So this is your text for the item. This is your summary zone if you needed it. You don't need to have a summary zone. This is your description details. Again, these are just zones that are there if you need them, but are not required for the system. You can set limits, like if you're selling a banquet ticket, you can say you can only purchase 2 banquet tickets, so you can put limits on items. And on these items, you can say, allow promo to be applied to this item, show on registration site, show on purchase separate site. The reason why this is nice is you can have an excursion, and maybe you don't want the excursions to be on the registration portal. You want them to be accessed on your additional items portal that they can purchase separate. You can do it here. Check time conflict. So this is a little unique. You can have workshops in this system. You can have workshop 1, workshop 2, workshop 3, and these workshops can be dated and zoned for a time period. So you can have like January 1st at noon to 1 p.m. this workshop is. Your next workshop 2 can be from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Well, what if your other workshop 3, was from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. and your customer chose 2 of them and they're conflicting in time? Then our system won't stop them from adding both workshops, but it will give them a little pop-up that says, hey, these 2 workshops that you chose have a time conflict, and we just wanted to let you know. You can still choose them though, so it won't take them out of their cart, but it lets them know that there is a time conflict. Now, if you have pricing, you can have pricing here, or you don't need to have pricing. It's whatever you want. And in-stock amount. So that kind of summarizes all the additional items. So these are items for sale, they're free items, or they're workshop. All 4 of these are all the same system. And the reason why that's nice is if you're in the same system, then when you're creating an additional question and you're creating a survey or a poll, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to learn a new system to do a survey. You already know the additional questions tool, so you can create a survey, same thing. So additional questions, this edit one. Now you'll see that this one is blue. Let me edit it. And the reason why it's blue is this is an abstract question. So when you create additional questions, you can choose which page that this question will show on. So if it's going to be on the general information page, or the abstract page, or the additional information page. The additional information page is where you choose your registration types. The background is blue whenever it's an abstract page. That way you can identify this question as being an abstract related question. So this is where you put your data column. This just gives you a unique name for your Excel sheets that you're getting output for. It's just a nice way to keep it, clean. If the question is required, you can say, yep, it's a required question. Your control type, if it's a drop down, radio button, checkbox, text box, you got your choices there. Your order, so this puts the order of how this question is going to be listed. From you have 10 questions, you want to put it in what order. Who can submit to this question? So you can say speakers and attendees can submit it, attendees or speakers. So you can choose questions for the type of person coming to your site. And this is the output. I want this output of this question to be viewable to the conference manager on the customer dashboard, or I want the conference chair viewable on the customer dashboard. So this just sets certain views for it. The summary of the question, you don't need it. Your question right here, and this is optional style sheet stuff. You don't need this, but if you needed to do extra styling for the specific question, you can add styling right here. Word limits. So if you have a text box, you can set how many word limits can be in that text box. Text box rows, how many rows you want to show up on the website. And this is a drop down radio button list answers. So if you have a drop down, these are the drop down choices that will be on it. And filtering. So whenever a customer answers these questions, I want to be able to use these answers that they submitted as a filter. And if I turn these on, I can now filter it on the review site. And if I turn this one on, I can use these answers as a filter for my reports, my email tool, my poster builder, and my abstract builder. So it gives you a nice capability. Like for example, on an abstract site, if you asked for topic and you put on 20 different topics here and you wanted to filter off of what the customer submitted. If the customer submitted glycobiology, then you can choose that filter and then filter your abstracts based off of what topic they wanted to go to. So just nice capability to filter off any question that you ask. All of these are the same, so same exact format. You can build any kind of question you want on a survey, and any kind of question on a poll, and any kind of question on a gamification. Gamification is basically on the conference website, you can give them access to basically it's a bunch of questions, but these questions can be tied to your conference hall. So for example, game question 1 can be, in the main hall, find the red square and look below it and you'll get the key and enter the key here. And then this gives your customers at the conference a little game to go around the conference, and that way they won't miss anything. They can go around the entire conference and kind of enjoy all the parts of the conference. And the gamification kind of helps, get your customers to kind of move around the conference. And it's a little bit fun. So logs, these are just logs of, what's going on during your conference. Did you turn off your conference? Did you turn it on? And if you needed to attendee access or speaker access. So if you want to turn on and off these access points, you can do that. If you never have speakers access, then you can just turn that off, and then everybody uses the attendee portal. If you needed the speaker codes, then you can use it right here. These right here on your conference website, you can activate or deactivate all the buttons to your registration submission site. So you deactivate that, and all your buttons to register for the conference, to submit an abstract, they will disappear from the conference website. It's a nice way to deactivate your site or activate your conference, when you're getting ready to start the registration. And again, archive, you can archive this submission portal and test mode. So while you're in test mode, you can use the credit number 4111, and it's a test credit card number that they make for Visa that will let you do test submissions to make sure that your portal is flowing the correct way and you can test your emails. So it's a nice way to test your submission form without actually having to use a real credit card. And then once you get everything tested, everything looks great, you click delete test records, and this will delete all those test submissions that you created, and then you can turn your site to active. So now the site is on live mode. So that is it for the conference registration admin tab. If you have any questions, please send me email on my contact form on meetingbloom.com, and we'll talk to you later.